Have you also got these pesky calls saying, hey, we know you drive this car or you use this car, we'll give you better EMI facilities, or you know what, we'll send you on this lovely holiday, all expenses paid. Now that got me thinking, how do they know which car I drive? How do they know which car I own? Obviously, now that data we know often does go out, but just to what extent is your data going out, and what kind of permissions are you consenting to? That's the story that caught my eye this week. Who doesn't like barking orders, especially if you know the car is going to do all of them, like turn down the AC, turn up the volume, open the sunroof. But the smarter your car gets, the chances are you're also giving out a whole lot of data with it, and you probably aren't even aware of it.
Absolutely. See, gone are the days when your first and perhaps last interaction with the car was got the car, drove home, that's it. You went to a service station, got it serviced, and apart from your name, address, what is on your so-called RC, was nothing else was known to the car dealer. Now what happens is that as connected cars or smart cars become a bigger and a normal thing, your data is the biggest casualty of the process.
And just how much data are you actually consenting to without really being aware of what you have consented to in itself is quite an eye-opener.
To put in context what Ketki is saying, Mozilla Foundation did a survey recently or a research on how cars are getting creepier by the day. They surveyed 25 brands, which include your Mercedes, Tesla, Kia, Hyundai, Nissan, all the big wigs. And they found out that almost 76% of the users' data was being sold. And this was being sold to dealers, businesses, we don't know who, because you have consented. And that's the thing. How have you consented the data? You just downloaded the app, accepted the terms and conditions, which none of us ever read, and those terms and conditions are creepy, which is why they are calling the cars creepy.
Now, there was one particular thing that really jumped out at me from this about consenting to giving information about your sex life. What is that?
Right. As I said, it's in the fine print. But Kia and Nissan, according to that survey, were two brands which actually have your consent regarding your sexual activity as well as your sex life. What they are doing with it, I'm not sure, but you are consenting, that's for sure.
And what are the other reasons, or which are the brands that in this list, and this, mind you, is a list of cars or companies surveyed in the US.
Right.
Nevertheless, it's still a list. I mean, you still get to know what they are looking at in terms of parameters, and what are the brands and what is the creepiest level.
Surprisingly, Tesla tops the list, but the reason is that because Tesla uses a lot of AI and its self-driving or auto-driving feature requires a lot of your data. So for one, that is one big reason why it is become the creepiest car, but not for say other reasons. But the feature doesn't work unless and until you give your data. The others are, as I said, Hyundai even gives your data to law enforcement, and which is perhaps normal, but Nissan, Kia, as we said, to sexual activity, where you're going. And see, a lot of this is also feature based, because if you want to navigate from one place to the other, that data is with the car company, and that is making your life say simpler, better, and perhaps safer also in some sense. But as I said, data is at risk,
and it always comes with a cost. Sometimes that cost is so hidden that you didn't even know it was a factor.
Absolutely.
And have you had these calls? You started off this video saying that I've got these calls.
Yeah.
How do you tackle them?
I just say that I don't have this car.
And it works.
Well, so far, not too much luck, but yeah.
Once I was told that you will get this free holiday, you just have to show up at this one hotel and you'll get a free holiday. So I said, what if I don't have the car? Do I still get the holiday?
Maybe you should have gone on the holiday.
It's not going to come without it.
True, absolutely.
But is there a law currently that we have that covers the consumer?
The data privacy bill does cover this, and hopefully, and car makers in India have been asked this quite a lot, because right now there is not too much clarity in India, at least, how car companies are using your data. And I don't want to say point fingers, but I don't see a reason how else these banks or these financial institutions are getting your car details, or they know how you're driving their data. So hopefully the data privacy bill, when it comes into effect, should have this under its umbrella, and perhaps your data will be safer.
So we're not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing, but we're just saying be aware. There is a lot of data that you have consented to. You have given your permission to the companies, especially when you download these apps. You are giving a lot of consent. And sure, it is really difficult to go through those really long agreement copies that we just scroll down, go to the bottom, and just hit agree. But you must know that there's a lot that the fine print is taking away.